The House will come to order. Prayer by the chaplain.
In prayer. Holy One, Sacred Spirit, the one who created us all, I continue to marvel at your presence in this world as seen in the resiliency and fortitude you have given over to your creations. I ask you today to fill our hearts and minds with your purpose for making this world a better place for us all colors, sizes, genders, all shapes, languages, and origins. You who have created in us all manner of possibility, we ask for your continued guidance as we seek to create opportunities of well-being, not just for those in our circle, but for the whole of our great state. Recognizing you as the Creator, we ask your guidance in choosing wisely to preserve the beauty and abundance that is found in our rivers, forests, fields, and lakes, ensuring that they will continue to sustain us and nourish us and provide us, and for our children and grandchildren, a place to inhabit in safety and security now and for years to come. Sacred Spirit, we ask you to comfort and sustain us in the face of such tremendous loss of our fellow citizens, filling us with comfort, grace, and courage to remain a caring people imbued with hope and kindness toward each other. In these days and weeks ahead, I pray we strive to see ourselves in the other, a sacred place that you inhabit, lifting up the knowledge that you are in the heart of all humanity, that indeed we are all created in your divine image. Holy One, when we find moments that call us, but for which we may be at a loss, we turn to your biblical prophet Micah, who taught, what is good, what does God require of us, but to do justice, to love goodness, and to walk humbly with your God. May the one who creates peace bring peace and wholeness to all of creation. Amen.
The chaplain for today is Rabbi Lynn Liberman from Jewish Community Chaplain of Jewish Family Service, St. Paul, Minnesota. Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing and recite the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Members, when the Chief Clerk takes the roll today, please state your name, your location, and that you are present. Members using the remote voting technology should also press the green yes button when your name is called. The clerk will take the roll.
Acom.
Acom, Minnetonka, present.
Acom, Minnetonka, present. Agbadje.
Agbadje, St. Paul, present.
Agbadje, St. Paul, present. Ackland.
Ackland, St. Paul, present.
Ackland, St. Paul, present. Albright.
Albright, Prior Lake, present.
Albright, Prior Lake, present. Anderson.
Anderson, Barsness Township, present.
Anderson, Barsness Township, present. Backer.
Backer, Browns Valley, present.
Backer, Browns Valley, present. Bonner.
Bonner, Maple Grove, present.
Bonner, Maple Grove, present. Bar.
Bar, East Bethel, present.
Bar, East Bethel, present. Baker.
Baker, Wilmer, present.
Baker, Wilmer, present. Becker, Finn.
Becker Finn, St. Paul, present.
Becker, Finn, St. Paul, present. Bennett.
Bennett, Albert Lee, present.
Bennett, Albert Lee, present. Berg.
You kind of listening?
Berg, Burnsville, present.
Berg, Burnsville, present. Bernardi.
Bernardi, New Brighton, present.
Bernardi, New Brighton, present. Bierman.
Bierman, Apple Valley, present.
Bierman, Apple Valley, present. Bliss.
Bliss, Beltrami County, present.
Bliss, Beltrami County, present. Bow.
Bo, Chanhassen, present.
Bow, Chanhassen, present. Bolden.
Bolden, St. Paul, present.
Bolden, St. Paul, present. Burkle.
Burkle, St. Paul, present.
Burkle, St. Paul, present. Carlson. Carlson, St. Paul, present. Christensen.
Christensen, Stillwater, present.
Christensen, Stillwater, present. Daniels.
Daniels, St. Paul, present.
Daniels, St. Paul, present. Doubt. Doubt, St. Paul, present. Davids.
David, St. Paul, present.
David, St. Paul, present. Davney.
Daphne, St. Paul, present.
Davney, St. Paul, present. Damuth. Damuth, St. Paul, present. Detmer.
Detmer, St. Paul, present.
Detmer, St. Paul, present. Drazkowski.
Drazkowski, Winona, present.
Drazkowski, Winona, present. Eklund.
Eklund, Koochiching County, present.
Eklund, Koochiching County, present. Edelson.
Edelson, Edina, present.
Edelson, Edina, present. Elkins.
Elkins, St. Paul, present.
Elkins, St. Paul, present. Erickson.
Erickson, St. Paul, present.
Erickson, St. Paul, present. Feist.
Feist, St. Paul, present.
Feist, St. Paul, present. Fisher.
Fisher, St. Paul, present.
Fisher, St. Paul, present. Frankie.
Frankie, St. Paul Park, present.
Frankie, St. Paul Park, present. Franzen.
Franson, Alexandria Township, present.
Franzen, Alexandria Township, present. Frazier.
Frazier, New Hope, present.
Frazier, New Hope, present. Frederick.
Frederick Mankato, present.
Frederick, Mankato, present. Freiberg.
Freiburg, New Hope, present.
Freiberg, New Hope, present. Garofalo.
Garofalo, Farmington, present.
Garofalo, Farmington, present. Gomez.
Gomez, St. Paul, present.
Gomez, St. Paul, present. Green.
Green, Boston, present.
Green, Boston, present. Greenman.
Greenman, St. Paul, present.
Greenman, St. Paul, present. Grossel.
Excused.
Grossel. Grunhagen.
Gruenhagen, Glencoe, present.
Grunhagen, Glencoe, present. Haley. Haley, St. Paul, present. Hamilton.
Hamilton, St. Paul, present.
Hamilton, St. Paul, present. Hanson R.
Hanson R., St. Paul, present.
Hanson R., St. Paul, present. Hanson J.
Hanson J. Burnsville, present.
Hanson J. Burnsville, present. Hassan.
Hassan, Minneapolis, present.
Hassan, Minneapolis, present. Hausman.
Hausman, St. Paul, present.
Hausman, St. Paul, present. Heinrich.
Heinrich Anoka, present.
Heinrich, Anoka, present. Heinzman.
Heinzman Nisswa, present.
Heinzman, Nisswa, present. Her, St. Paul, present. Hertas.
Hertas Greenfield, present.
Hertas, Greenfield, present. Hollins.
Collins, St. Paul, present.
Hollins, St. Paul, present. Hornstein.
Hornstein, Minneapolis, present.
Hornstein, Minneapolis, present. Howard.
Howard, St. Paul, present.
Howard, St. Paul, present. Hewitt.
Hewitt, St. Paul, present.
Hewitt, St. Paul, present. Igo.
Igo, St. Paul, present.
Igo, St. Paul, present. Johnson.
Johnson, St. Paul, present.
Johnson, St. Paul, present. Jordan.
Jordan, St. Paul, present.
Jordan, St. Paul, present. Jurgens.
Jurgens, St. Paul, present.
Jurgens, St. Paul, present. Keeler.
Keeler, St. Paul, present.
Keeler, St. Paul, present. Keel.
Keel, St. Paul, present.
Keel, St. Paul, present. Cleveland.
Cleburne, Plymouth, present.
Cleveland, Plymouth, present. Cagle.
Cagle, Spring Lake Park, present.
Cagle, Spring Lake Park, present. Katiza Watun.
Come on in. Come on in.
Katiza Watun. Kosnick.
Cosmic, St. Paul, present.
Kosnick, St. Paul, present. Creshaw.
Creshaw, Little Falls, present.
Creshaw, Little Falls, present. Lee.
Lee, St. Paul, present.
Lee, St. Paul, present. Liebling.
Liebling, Rochester, present.
Liebling, Rochester, present. Lilly.
Lily, North St. Paul, present.
Lilly, North St. Paul, present. Lippert.
Lippert, Northfield, present.
Lippert, Northfield, present. Lislegard.
Lislegard, St. Paul, present.
Lislegard, St. Paul, present. Long.
Long, St. Paul, present.
Long, St. Paul, present. Lucero.
Lucero, County of Wright, present.
Lucero, Wright County, present. Lewick.
Lewick Aiken, present.
Lewick, Aiken, present. Mariani.
Mariani, St. Paul present.
Mariani, St. Paul, present. Markward.
Markwart, St. Paul present.
Markward, St. Paul, present. Mason.
Mason Egan, present.
Mason, Egan, present. McDonald. McDonald.
McDonald Delano, present.
McDonald, Delano, present. Mecklin.
Mecklen, Sherburne County present.
Mecklin, Sherburne County, present. Miller. Miller, St. Paul, present. Moeller.
Moeller, Shoreview, present.
Moeller, Shoreview, present. Moran.
Moran, St. Paul, present.
Moran, St. Paul, present. Morrison.
Morrison, Deep Haven, present.
Morrison, Deep Haven, present. Mortensen.
Mortensen, St. Paul present.
Mortensen, St. Paul, present. Mueller. Mueller, St. Paul, present. Munson.
Munson, St. Paul, present.
Munson, St. Paul, present. Murphy.
Murphy, Hermantown, present.
Murphy, Hermantown, present. Nash.
Nash, Waconia present.
Nash, Waconia, present. Nelson M.
Nelson M., St. Paul present.
Nelson M. St. Paul, present. Nelson N.
Nelson N. Clover Township, present.
Nelson N. Clover Township, present. New Brindley. New Brindley, St. Paul, present. Nor.
No, Minneapolis, present.
Nor, Minneapolis, present. Novotny.
Novotny, St. Paul present.
Novotny, St. Paul, present. O'Driscoll. O'Driscoll.
Sartell present.
O'Driscoll, Sartell, present. Olson B.
Olson B., St. Paul present.
Olson B., St. Paul, present. Olson L. Olson L., St. Paul, present. O'Neill.
O'Neill, Maple Lake, present.
O'Neill, Maple Lake, present. Pulowski.
Pulowski, Winona, present.
Pulowski, Winona, present. Petersburg.
Petersburg, Wasika present.
Petersburg, Wasika, present. Farr.
Farr, St. Paul present.
Farr, St. Paul, present. Pearson.
Pearson, Rochester Township, present.
Pearson, Rochester Township, present. Pinto.
Pinto, St. Paul present.
Pinto, St. Paul, present. Poston.
Poston, Lakeshore present.
Poston, Lakeshore, present. Pryor.
Pryor, Minnetonka, present.
Pryor, Minnetonka, present. Quam.
Quam, St. Paul present.
Quam, St. Paul, present. Raleigh.
Raleigh, St. Paul present.
Raleigh, St. Paul, present. Rasmussen. Rasmussen, St. Paul, present. Ryer.
Ryer Egan, present.
Ryer, Egan, present. Richardson.
Mendota Heights, present.
Richardson, Mendota Heights, present. Robbins. Robbins, St. Paul, present. Sandell.
Sandell, Woodbury present.
Sandell, Woodbury, present. Sandsted.
Sandsted, Hibbing, present.
Sandsted, Hibbing, present. Schumacher.
Schumacher, Laverne, present.
Schumacher, Laverne, present. Schultz.
Schultz, Duluth, present.
Schultz, Duluth, present. Scott.
Scott, Andover, present.
Scott, Andover, present. Stevenson.
Stevenson, St. Paul, present.
Stevenson, St. Paul, present. Sundin.
Sundin, Duluth, present.
Sundin, Duluth, present. Swazinski.
Swazinski, St. Paul present.
Swazinski, St. Paul, present. Tice. Tice. Thompson.
Tice, St.
Thompson.
Paul, present.
Tice, St. Paul, present. Thompson.
Thompson, St. Paul present.
Thompson, St. Paul, present. Torkelson.
Torkelson, Hanska, present.
Torkelson, Hanska, present. Erdahl.
Erdahl, St. Paul present.
Erdahl, St. Paul, present. Vang.
Vang, Brooklyn Center, present.
Vang, Brooklyn Center, present. Waslowick.
Waslowick, St. Paul, present.
Waslowick, St. Paul, present. West.
West Blaine, present.
West, Blaine, present. Winkler. Winkler, St. Paul, present. Wagamot, St. Paul, present. Zhang Jie,
Young J. St. Paul, present.
Zhang Jie, St. Paul, present. Zhang Ti,
Young T. St. Paul, present.
Zhang Ti, St. Paul, present. Joachim
Hopkins, present.
Joachim Hopkins, present. Speaker Hortman. Speaker Hortman, St. Paul, present. Grossel, excused. Katiza Watun.
Katiza Watun, Eden Prairie, present.
Katiza Watun, Eden Prairie, present.
A quorum is present. The clerk will read the journal of the preceding day.
Journal of the House, 92nd session, 2021, 19th day, St. Paul, Minnesota, Monday, March 1st, 2021.
If there is no objection, further reading of the journal will be dispensed with, and the journal will be approved as corrected by the chief clerk. Hearing no objection, the journal is approved as corrected by the chief clerk. Reports of standing committees and divisions. A copy of this order of business is online. If there is no objection, the reports will be adopted. Hearing no objection, the reports are adopted. Second reading of House files.
Second reading, House File number 7.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File 109.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File 682.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File 696.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File 738.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File 820.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File 844.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File 863.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File 876.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File 994.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File 1019.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File 1140.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File 1269.
Second
Second
reading.
reading, House File 1292.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File 1489.
Second reading.
And second reading, House File 1754.
Second reading. Introduction of bills. The following House files have been offered for introduction today. The chief clerk will report the House files and give them their first reading.
Introduction of first reading of House Files 1808 through 1953.
First reading House files 1808 through 1953. Messages from the Senate.
Message from the Senate. Madam Speaker, I hereby announce the passage by the Senate of the following Senate file herewith transmitted. Senate file number 1091. The message is signed Cal R. Ludeman, Secretary of the Senate.
First reading of Senate files.
First reading, Senate file number 1091, an act relating to local government. Haley moved that Senate file number 1091 and House file number 738, now on the general register, be referred to the chief clerk for comparison.
Without objection, so ordered. Eventually, I'll get the hang of this. Motions and resolutions. There are copies of the non-controversial motions at the House desk and online. If there's no objection, we will take action on these motions first. Hearing no objection, the motions prevail.
Olson L. moves that House file number 7, now on the general register, be re-referred to the Committee on Judiciary, Finance, and Civil Law.
The member from St. Louis, Representative Olson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. House File 7 on a clerical error was sent to the General Register. The chair and staff confirmed that the motion made in committee was to send it to Judiciary, so our motion is to send it to Judiciary.
Any discussion to the Olson motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails.
Lucero moved that House File number 231 be recalled from the Committee on Capital Investment and be re-referred to the Committee on Transportation, Finance, and Policy.
The member from Wright, Representative Lucero.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That is my motion. House File 231 has to do with funding for I-94, 3 lanes between Albertville and Monticello. Several years ago, actually, I think just 2 years ago, we funded the continuation of I-94 to widen it up through Albertville and then again from Monticello up to Clearwater, but there's going to be a gap in between Albertville and Monticello. This was referred to capital investment, And I've spoken to both chairs and they agree. But the real reason, Madam Chair, that I'm seeking to have this go to transportation is so I can once again visit my friend, my good friend, Chair Hornstein, who is a big fan of the city of Dayton.
Everybody wants to be in transportation. Any discussion to the Lucero motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails.
Mason moves that House File Number 343 be recalled from the Committee on Health, Finance, and Policy and be re-referred to the Committee on State Government, Finance, and Elections.
The member from Dakota, Representative Mason.
Thank you, Speaker. That is my motion. The bill does not need to be heard in health, finance, and so I've checked with the Speaker of State Government Finance, and he has agreed to take that on. And basically, the bill has to do with cosmetology, and it modifies salon licensure and continuing education requirements. I'd appreciate your support.
Any discussion to the Mason motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails.
Agbadge moves that House File Number 1151 be recalled from the Committee on Human Services, Finance, and Policy and be re-referred to the Committee on Judiciary, Finance, and Civil Law.
The member from Hennepin, Representative Agbadge.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Yes, that is my motion. House File 1151 is the African American Family Preservation Act that seeks to protect children, reduce out-of-home placements, improve mental health of African American children, and improve child protection efficiency. I've spoken with both chairs, and they agreed to moving it to judiciary before going to committee.
Any discussion to the Agbadge motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails.
Lucero moves that House File Number 1243 be recalled from the Committee on Rules and Legislative Administration and be re-referred to the Committee on Health, Finance, and Policy.
The member from Wright, Representative Lucero.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And House File 1243, I received a note from Chair Pawlowski that it should go to Health, Finance, and Policy Committee. Both chairs have agreed. And this House file has to do with amending Chapter 12 Emergency Powers to prevent Governor Walz from using coercion to force vaccinations into the arms of non-consenting adults or children.
Any discussion to the Lucero motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails.
Sandsted moves that House File Number 1505 be recalled from the Committee on Higher Education, Finance, and Policy and be re-referred to the Committee on Environment and Natural Resources, Finance, and Policy.
The member from St. Louis, Representative Sandsted.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. House File 1505 is a bill dealing with forestry. It belongs in the Environment Committee. I've spoken with both chairs, and they have agreed to refer it there.
Any discussion to the Sandsted motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails.
Sandsted moves that House File Number 1506 be recalled from the Committee on Higher Education, Finance, and Policy and be re-referred to the Committee on Environment and Natural Resources, Finance, and Policy.
The member from St. Louis, Representative Sandsted.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. That is my motion. I have spoken with both chairs. House File 1506 is a bill dealing with water and minerals. It belongs in the Environment Committee.
Any discussion to the Sandsted motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails.
Richardson moves that House File Number 1589 be recalled from the Committee on Public Safety and Criminal Justice Reform, Finance, and Policy and be re-referred to the Committee on Commerce, Finance, and Policy.
The member from Dakota, Representative Richardson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. That is my motion. House File 1589 is a bill related to addressing catalytic converter theft. I've discussed this with both chairs, and they are in agreement.
Any discussion to the Richardson motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails.
Moeller moves that House File Number 1653 be recalled from the Committee on Human Services, Finance, and Policy and be re-referred to the Committee on Judiciary, Finance, and Civil Law.
The member from Ramsey, Representative Moeller.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. That is my motion. I've spoken to both chairs. They agree with this motion. This bill has to do with both data collection and guardianship.
Any discussion to the Moeller motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails.
Morrison moves that House File number 1793 be recalled from the Committee on Human Services, Finance, and Policy and be re-referred to the Committee on Health, Finance, and Policy.
The member from Hennepin, Representative Morrison.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. That is my motion. House File 1793 creates an enhanced asthma services benefit in under MA, and both chairs are aware and agree that it belongs in Health Finance.
Any discussion to the Morrison motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails.
Liebling moves that House File number 1796 be recalled from the Committee on Human Services, Finance, and Policy and be re-referred to the Committee on Health, Finance, and Policy.
The member from Olmsted, Representative Liebling.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is a bill that just asks DHS to do a report on provider reimbursement rates under managed care. Representative Schultz and I agree that it is more appropriately in Health, Finance, and Policy.
Any discussion to the Liebling motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails. Announcements. Representative Winkler.
Madam Speaker, I move that when the House adjourns today, it adjourns until 3:30 p.m. Monday, March 8th, 2021.
Representative Winkler moves that when the House adjourns today, it adjourn until 3:30 p.m. Monday, March 8th, 2021. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails. Representative Winkler.
Madam Speaker, I move that the House do now adjourn.
Representative Winkler moves that the House do now adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails. The House stands adjourned until 3:30 p.m. Monday, March 8th.